feel like dating in your 30s is very different than dating in your 20s. I don't know how I feel about the future, but hello, hi, welcome back or welcome to my channel. I should just go ahead and introduce myself. Hi, my name is Brenda. I am a 30-something that works and lives here in foggy but sunny San Francisco, and usually on my channel I post blogs about how I'm navigating life in my 30s. So if you like that type of content, I encourage you to check out my other videos. I haven't picked up the camera in so long that I feel very awkward right now, where I'm like, what is it that I do with this camera? I totally have forgotten. It hasn't been that long. It probably has only been maybe 2 weeks without me recording, because as of this moment I am very backed up. I have 2 videos that are unedited. I have contemplated posting twice a week, but I don't think it's very doable for me right now in this stage in life, in the sense that I do have a regular job that I work. I've mentioned we are currently in a little bit of a pickle with budgeting, so I have that ongoing stress going on. So I think adding another day of posting and editing and filming would just be too much on my plate at this moment. But maybe someday I'll get to posting twice a week. It is Saturday and I am going to be heading over to see my friend Nicole, who I have featured before on past vlogs. I haven't seen her in a while, so she just wanted to, hang out, go and have some brunch. She loves brunch. In my last video, I've mentioned how I don't like breakfast, so whenever we do brunch, usually I tend to look for lunch menu options. Unless I'm in the mood for sweets, which I am today. I'm like, I kind of want a waffle, but also pancakes. I wouldn't mind. It sounds really good. So I'm excited to do that. I'm just gonna post this out there because I'm pretty sure there's other people out there that relate to this. So I am single, mega single. It's been 2 years since I've actually gone on a real date. I've had the apps on and off. I think at the beginning of the year, I opened up my Hinge again. I did match with 3 people. One of the people, I thought he was really cool, really funny, very sarcastic. I thought that's pretty great and joking and stuff. And then he disappeared. And then I was like, okay, I'll just go back, and then I would see the people and then I'd be like, never mind. And then I forgot about the app. I decided to reopen the app, and this person that had disappeared reappeared. He said, totally forgot about the app, just got back from a trip, and continued the banter like usual. And I was like, yeah, I could be petty and just ignore him, or I could just give him the benefit of the doubt, because honestly I hadn't been on the app. It had been days since he had messaged me and I wasn't on the app, so I didn't know. And so he did say want to go out to meet up. So there could be a date in the future, and by the future it could be tomorrow. I don't know, but that's in the plan. So I'm gonna go ahead. I am gonna grab my stuff. We are gonna go have a brunch together and just catch up on the hot gossip, which I have some gossip for her because work has been fun. to go. I was not going to show any of the process because I feel like whenever I'm like anxious or I need to go somewhere, realizing the windows are open, or I need to do something, like I'm too high anxiety to film it. Like, I don't know how some people do it, but I'm like, for me, my anxiety gets so bad that the last thing I want to do is film, because if not, I'm gonna trigger some sort of like little breakdown. So I didn't film anything, not me doing, you know, my makeup or, you know, blow drying my hair. Hopefully this is in focus. I also didn't check that, but I didn't film any of that. I am just wearing something very simple, just like a like a cream color bodysuit that's like a tank top with this sweater on top, and then just jeans, and I'm just gonna put on some sneakers on, and that's it. I thought about dress to impress, and right now I'm having like a little moment of maybe I should go and change. I still have time, but I think this is okay. Like, it's not trying too hard. I don't know how you dress up for a date. In the past, I don't know. I don't remember how I dressed. I know that I put in some effort. I'm like, I hope this person's nice. I hope we get along. And then if this is the last time we meet, that's also fine. So the way that I'm looking at this, and the way that keeps me a little more motivated about like meeting, you know, going on this date, taking a leap of faith or whatever. So I don't go into dates thinking like this is the one or anything like that, because I feel like it hurts more when they're not the one. So I go in there not saying like it's not gonna work out, but also like having a realistic expectation of this is just a first date. Things can or cannot work out. You know, you don't know if you're gonna vibe with the person when you meet them. Being realistic about it, that's how I go into it. The way I'm trying to see this, and you know, to keep me motivated, is just, even if things don't work out, even if, you know, I don't see this person ever again after today, at least I got my feet in the door. I didn't just open the app and create a profile and swipe. Like, I actually talked to someone and then agreed on a date, and then met them for a date if he does show up. Because again, the dating pool has been one of those where people just don't show up and they don't tell you they're not showing up. But like, let's say he does show up and, you know, we have our date and that's it. We didn't have anything in common. At least it's a foot in the door. And I could either continue going through the door or decide to take a pause on dating, because it is a lot of energy. No, so my dating thing was 2022. So I haven't been on a real date since 2022. And I remember because I tried to blog it, but it never made it online. And then it wasn't until Vlogmas of 2023 that I started officially posting. So it's been 3 years since my last date. This is fun. So I was about to text him, like message him through the app, like, hey, I got home, and he was also messaging at the same time. But anyways, I obviously made it home. I am alive. Had a little bit to drink, obviously. If it's not clear, it was a nice date. Like, I think it was a nice like reintroduction into the dating world. He was timid, which so was I, but like, he was very nice. He was very sarcastic, funny. He seemed to share similar movies and shows that we watched, so we were able to be like, hey, remember that one episode, or like, what was that one thing, and like stuff like that. So it was a really good conversation in that sense. It's gonna suck if this was it, because I think he was a cool guy. But also, if this is it, this was a great first date introduction back into the dating world. Will I continue doing it? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know if I have the energy to continue like trying to date. It was really nice. I was like, time flew by. It was really weird to like hang out with somebody else who's just like as sarcastic as like I can. Like, I'm not always sarcastic, I think it also depends on who I'm with, because I understand that not everybody can understand sarcasm. So I don't go sarcastic on everyone, but like being able to be sarcastic, it was really nice. And for it to be thrown back at me, like it was good, because it was like, I'm not taking offense to it or anything like that. Like I'm not taking it literally. I know you're being sarcastic. I know you're being like cheeky or whatever. And I am going to return the interaction back with the same cheekiness. All right, hello. It is Wednesday. It's been a few days since my date on Sunday, and I had posted a Monday outro, but then I feel like I rambled and didn't really quite think things through of what I wanted to say. So I just wanted to take some time, now that I've had time to reflect, to do an outro. First of all, I am far behind on my videos. It took me 11 hours just to edit my LA blog. I am very proud of it, and I hope people see it, and I hope people don't get offended. But it did take me 11 hours, and I'm also so far behind. In terms of dating, I kind of wanted to share that because I feel like dating in your 30s is very different than dating in your 20s. Like me in my 20s, I had very low self-esteem. I thought I was very ugly, and I firmly believed that I was not pretty at all, and I had no other reason to believe that I was. I don't come from a family that was constantly like calling me pretty or anything like that. Like I was called smart, but it was never like, oh, you're so beautiful or anything like that. So there's nothing to convince my own belief to convince me otherwise. There's nothing to convince me otherwise. I just had this belief, and I made a lot of decisions on dating based on those beliefs at the beginning. Well, throughout my 20s, I made a lot of those decisions based on the beliefs, especially my younger, like 20s. The first guy I dated, even though I did not find him attractive at all, I thought he was very sweet emotionally, and I thought that was it. That's my only option. Like first, that's it. Like I'm living this fairy tale of like the first guy I meet is the right guy. And then also just thinking I am just so ugly that this is the best I can do. And there's nobody else that's going to be out there. So just settle for this guy. And very luckily for me, he broke up with me. It's kind of embarrassing now that I look back at it, because I should have known that the relationship, we just weren't matching up. But that was like 3 years of my life there. And then I went into the dating market by accident. Not by accident, but like I naturally was meeting people, and I was meeting very attractive guys who thought I was cute, which was it was challenging my own perception of I am ugly, and I should just take the first choices that I get. And I think that's what my early 20s was proving to myself by my choices that I was not ugly, that I was capable of attracting attractive people. And I mean, it's very superficial to say that out loud, but it's the truth. That's what my 20s were. I was struggling with depression. I was struggling with an anxiety disorder, and I had very low self-esteem. I had very just negative thoughts about myself, and my inner narrator was just constantly a negative inner narrator. I thought the worst of myself. So that's who 20-something-year-old me was. And then my late 20s, I finally started changing a little bit, because I did start just kind of reassessing life. I had been in a relationship with my ex-boyfriend for my most recent, the last ex-boyfriend, for almost 5 years. And I thought he was the one, but this time it was very different. He was very nice. I found him physically, emotionally attractive. I felt like we had a lot in common. We had banter. And yeah, like it was just, I thought he was the one, because by that point I had done a little bit of healing here and there. I no longer believed I was ugly. I actually had a standard. I thought, wow, like an attractive guy who is like fulfills all of these check boxes. And it was very heartbreaking to realize that I was not the one for him. That I was thinking of him in this, just like, he's the one, and he didn't think of me the same way. And that was very heartbreaking, like a very heartbreaking realization, to know that the partner, the person that you are all in on, is not in on you. Like, they are, because they're like, you're never gonna leave me, you're just here, you fulfill my needs, and I don't have to do anything to fulfill yours. So like, I'm getting the better bargain in this relationship, and so they don't leave. So it's up to you to leave. And I ended up leaving the relationship, and it was very heartbreaking because, like I said, at the beginning, I just was seeing a lot. And then at the end, it was a realization that I had spent probably like more than a couple of months knowing that it was over, but not ending it. And then I get thrown into the dating market again. And the dating market this time is very different from my 20s. It's no longer that easy for me to date, because in my 20s it was superficial. I was just looking at pictures and, you know, maybe like I'd be like, oh cool, we like sports, or like the same teams, or you like the same movies. Like, it was very superficial. So it was easy to match with people. It was very easy. Also, I was much younger, so the market, the world was my oyster. And now I was going into the market almost 30, and now, you know, with a couple months of therapy, with a better self-image, slowly working towards a better inner narrator, and a lot older. And it was a bit tougher of a market. Like, I realized, like, yes, I was getting people and I was going on dates, but again, like, it really sucked to find myself going on all these dates, knowing that I wasn't lucky, knowing that I wasn't one of those lucky people that open hinged and all of a sudden met the one, without having to go on many dates with many toads, many frogs. Like, just finding the one immediately. It sucked to realize that that just wasn't my luck, and I would have to continue going on dates. And also, these dates were energy draining. The time I didn't have YouTube yet, so I was juggling dating, family, friends, work. And it was starting to become really hard. Like, I remember one day, for whatever reason, I decided to have a date on a school night, and the next day at work, I was falling asleep in the phone booth, because that's how tired I was. Like, it was like another job, having to go on all these dates and talking to all these guys, and the amount of talking stages I was going through, it was just so draining, and none of them showed any promise. There was guys who didn't know what they wanted. Like, they were like, like, I want the girlfriend experience, but I don't want the girlfriend. And I was like, well, I don't want the boyfriend experience without the boyfriend. Like, so we don't match there. And so it was so frustrating, and it was a second job, and I did have fun. But then there came one date that kind of scarred me, where I did feel like this person had the potential to be like one of those people that would start stalking you. Just like statements they were making, I was getting red flags, butterflies in my stomach, like people would describe, which one of my friends who is in social work, they told me that a professor of theirs told them that whenever something feels off, like you have a feeling that something's off about a person, you're usually right. It's your intuition trying to warn you about this person. After that, I got a little bit spooked. I was like, you know, I am going on these dates. It's draining me. It's very hard. I haven't met anyone. I don't feel like I want to spend any more time doing this. And I'm starting to feel unsafe doing this. Even though I share my locations with friends all the time, it's starting to feel very just like I'm gonna end up on the news. So I stopped dating, and I did open the app Like I would open up my account, I would close it down, I would open it up. And every time I would open it, I kind of would hurt my feelings because I would see what my options were. And I felt like every time I opened the app, the options became worse and worse and worse. Because of YouTube, I also was like, I don't no longer have that energy to spare. It's going to be another job. I don't know if I can take on another job. My friends keep my cup very full, I will say, with experiences, with just, their friendship, the affection, I guess the platonic relationship, aspect. They keep my glass full is the main point. And I'm very fulfilled. I don't feel lonely, or I'm also not afraid of being alone. Like, I've done it for so long. I'm totally okay with being alone. But I just craved having that different relationship, that person that, would be able to have banter with me and make jokes and take me out of my comfort zone. We could go exploring different places together, and also humor me with my dinosaurs and stuff. Like, just finding that person. And it's a nice to have type of thing. It's something that would be nice to have. I don't need it, but I want it. It would be nice. And I hadn't done anything to work towards it because I would open the app and I wouldn't do anything. I wouldn't talk to people, or sometimes I would, and then I would close down the app because I was like, yeah, I'm not getting any answers. Like, it's fine. I was planning on closing the app, Anyways, I was just waiting for this answer, and if it didn't come through, I was done. I didn't care. And then I finally had this person who had kind of gone MIA on me. It was a really nice conversation, and I don't know what's going to happen with that. The odds are kind of 50-50 from my past experience where I've had good date and then the person just disappears. And so that could happen here. I haven't heard back from the guy. I mean, he messaged me on Monday. Haven't heard from him since, and that's totally that is totally okay. It happens. People change their minds. I think my feelings would be more hurt a couple years back when I still was working through things and not quite understanding the whole thing of people changing their mind and how that it's okay if it hurts, but people are allowed to change their minds. I think that concept was not something I quite understood, as dumb as that might sound. I don't know how to explain it any better, but I feel like that was something I definitely was struggling a lot with before. And now I'm just at that point where it's like, it would have been nice if things don't pan out at all, but it would have been nice. This guy was very nice. The point was to get my feet wet. I needed to get back out there, and I did. And right now I am debating on whether I want to continue trying things out with people, because it is extra work. It definitely affects your mental state because you're kind of rejection is hard, and I think dating is all about rejection. At least that's what it feels like today. I don't know how I feel about the future, but dating in your 30s is just a lot harder, because at this point I feel like I have a better level of consciousness. I know what I want, and it's really hard for someone to convince me otherwise. Whereas when I was younger, I would mold myself to whoever because I really thought, I wouldn't never find anyone else. And now I'm at that point where I'm like, that person that's for me is out there somewhere. And as much as it would suck for me to meet that person 20 years from now, it's still 20 years from now, there are plenty of people out there who do not meet their perfect half until they're in their 40s. And that's okay. And that kind of gives me hope that even though so far my 30s I have not met anyone that reciprocates or that has any potential, I haven't met the person yet kind of thing. And it gives me a little bit of comfort to think of, even if I'm 50 and I finally meet the person, at least I met the person. So yeah, I think that just kind of keeps that little glimmer of light in the distance. It does suck. It does suck to want a relationship, to want a person, to look around and see people doing so well in the dating market and you're doing so horrible. But it is what it is. I guess it's just kind of staying confident that there's someone out there. Also, like, don't settle is the other thing. Like, for me, I don't want to settle. I don't want to settle for me. I've done it so much throughout my life. I've settled for everything. So I kind of refuse now to settle. I've seen relationships that didn't work out, my parents, and I've seen relationships that started at a more mature age, that when I look at the couple together, they're just so perfect for each other. And it's kind of like, it took life. It took years of making mistakes and stuff and not settling for them to finally, at some point in the timeline that is life, meet each other and end up together. So I hold on to that little hope of maybe someday I will meet that person. That person will be my person, not because I'm settling for whatever I can get, but because I truly found someone who completes me. Maybe they're not perfect, but they complete me. They check off all of the important boxes. And so don't settle and take breaks if you need them. If you are out there dating, if you're in your 20s, again, don't settle. Make sure that the person is checking off your boxes, that you see the future and the future seems bright, even if it doesn't seem perfect, but it just seems right for you. Yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm gonna go ahead and log off. I'm gonna go and get myself something to eat. It is very cold here in the city, so maybe I'll make myself some tea or something. I don't know, but I'm just gonna go ahead and relax. I've had a long day at work, and yesterday was a long day of editing, so I deserve some rest. But I will catch you in the next one.